प्रथमेश, रुचिका, ऋत्विक, सृष्टि, तन्वी, Anish, Neha, Omkar. Okay. So, have you practiced any questions from 3D uh, based on your CET and JE part? Just type in yes or no.
I
Okay. Yes, from Neha and Rutvik. Others? Have you practiced any questions? Have you went through the formulas? What are the main category of questions? What is of a triangle? How do you find area of parallelopipe, area of parallelogram? What is the relation between your all geometric figures? Okay. So let's continue. Yesterday we have seen a few questions which were very basic based on formulas itself. So you can see that those were just a revision for your formulas. Today we'll continue with some of those questions and also see questions which might appear in your CET. We'll conduct few more lectures, suppose one or two, in which we'll see lectures in which we'll see questions which are going to appear in your JE exam. The chapter 3D is comparatively relatively very easy. You're going to get just one or two questions in your JE from this chapter, and the difficulty of this chapter is equivalent to that of NCERT textbook level. So the questions are straightforward. Even in JE exam, if you see past question papers, you'll see one question from vectors and one question from 3D. And the vector questions and 3D questions are pretty straightforward. You don't have to think much. If you know the basic formulas, you have to just apply the right basic formula and you get your answer. So these two chapters are scoring, and even if you practice for a small amount of time, if you just practice for 3 or 4 days, you'll definitely be able to questions which are going to appear. Okay, so let's start. Okay, is my screen visible to everyone? Can everyone see this PPT? Okay, yes, from Ritik. So I'm assuming that everyone can see this. The question is, there are 4 points, A, B, C, and D, and I have to show that the lines AB bar and CD bar are intersecting. So how can I show this? First, I want AB bar. I can get AB bar by simply doing B bar minus A bar. I can also get CD bar by simply doing D bar minus C bar. But what I want is, I want to show that the lines are intersecting each other. So in what ways can I approach this question? To show that these two lines are intersecting, first what I'll do is, I'll assume one point P, which divides my line segment AB internally in a particular ratio, say suppose lambda is to 1. If P is dividing my segment AB, it means that P lies on segment AB. Then I'll go to my CD segment. I'm going to assume that there is a point Q which divides segment CD internally in the ratio, say suppose k is to 1. Therefore, I can say that the point Q lies on my segment CD. If somehow I am able to show that the point P and point Q are same, then that would mean that AB and CD are meeting at the same point. And if they are meeting at the same point, that means that the lines are intersecting. So I'll repeat the approach once again, how we are going to solve this. There are 4 points and I have to show that 2 lines are intersecting. First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a point, say suppose P, which divides segment AB internally. This would show that P lies on segment AB. Then I would find a point Q, which divides internally in the ratio, say suppose k is to 1. That means Q divides segment CD and it lies on segment CD. And in my third step, I'm going to show that the points P and Q are actually one and the same points. So that means these points are lying on segment AB and also on segment CD. So that means segment AB and segment CD are going through the same point, which means that they are intersecting. Okay, so let's solve this. I have my 4 points. First, I will consider 2 points A and B, and I'm going to say that let P divide this segment AB internally in the ratio, say suppose lambda is to 1. Then I'll use my internal division formula. What is the internal division formula? Lx2 plus mx1 upon L plus m. Similarly for y coordinate and z coordinate. My x1, y1, z1 in this case is point A, and x2, y2, z2 in this case is my point B. L and m in this case is lambda and 1. The ratio L is to m is lambda is to 1. Therefore, I can say that my point P is nothing but this. How did I get my point P? By simply applying my internal division formula. Lx2 plus mx1 upon L plus m. Instead of L, I have lambda. Instead of x2, I have 2. Instead of m, I have 1. And instead of x1, I have 0.4. So I get my x coordinate as 2 lambda plus 4 upon L plus m, that is lambda plus 1. Similarly, my y coordinates and z coordinates. So I got coordinates of point P. Similarly, I'll get coordinates of point Q. Now, I want to show that the coordinates of P and coordinates of Q are same. How can I do that? Coordinates of P are having terms of lambda, and the unknown variable in Q is nothing but K. So first I'll have to simplify for lambda and K. How can I do this? Let's assume that P and Q are equal. If they are not equal, then we won't get any answer which is going to satisfy our equation. So let's assume that the points P and Q are equal. Then equating my x coordinates, I'm going to get this, which means that 3 lambda k plus lambda minus 1 is equal to 0. Now over here, I can keep lambda terms on one side, shift k terms to other side, and get a relation between lambda and k. Or else I can take y coordinates, equate them, and get another equation. Okay. Or else I'm going to equate my y coordinates and I'll get another equation. I can simplify these two equations. Just do y2 minus y1, or you can say equation 2 minus equation 1. Simplifying, I get lambda value. and substitute value of lambda in your z coordinates or even in your x coordinates. It won't matter because all the ratios are same. You just want to find values of k and lambda. So substituting, say suppose in equation 2, you are going to get values of k. Basic factorization, k and lambda, you will get value of point p. Here we can see that the points p and are actually same points 1 2 3 and 1 2 3. If these were not same points, then our equations won't. So the point P is dividing my segment AB, which means P is lying on segment AB, and Q is dividing my segment CD, which means Q is lying on my segment CD. But as P and Q are same, I can say that there is only one point which lies on both segments AB and CD. As there is only one point common between AB and CD, I can say that these two lines are intersecting. So we'll go through this question once again, as there are multiple steps. The solving part is lengthy. However, from conceptual point of view, it's pretty straightforward. There are only 3 steps involved. First step, find a point P which divides segment AB internally in ratio lambda is to 1. Second step, find a point Q which divides segment CD internally in the ratio k is to 1. Then find the values of those points P and Q. In this particular case, as there are 2 unknown variables of lambda and k, we have to simplify them. On simplifying, we get value of P as 1 to 3 and value of Q as also 1 to 3. As it is just one point, therefore I can say that lines C and D, lines AB bar and CD bar are intersecting. Similar to 6th question, this is your 7th question. I'll give you 30 seconds. Try to come up with a solution how you are going to approach this question. How would you solve this question? So your time starts now. So how many of you are confident that you will be able to solve this question? Just type in yes or no. I don't want the exact answer, but at least you know how you are going to solve this question or how you are going to approach this question. Okay, there are a few yes. Others fast. How many of you think that you will be able to solve this? Rutvik saying yes. Others? Okay, yes from Neha. Prathamesh, Anish. Yes from Mrunal. Okay. So it's similar to your 6th question. You have to find the point of intersection for AB bar and CD bar. 4 points are given to you. So let us say that point P lies on AB bar, which divides it internally in some ratio, say suppose lambda is to 1. Then internally in the ratio, say suppose k is to 1. Simplify and get the values of P and Q. If the values of P and Q are equal, which means that they are intersecting. So solution, using internal division formula. I get values of P and Q, equating your x coordinates or say suppose y coordinates, just simplifying, getting the two equations, solving them so that I get values of k and lambda. And once I get the values of k and lambda, I'm going to substitute them in my points P and Q. After substituting, I get my point P as 203, and the point Q is also going to be 203 if you're going to substitute. Hence, I can say that they are intersecting. Next question is, find the centroid of a triangle formed by the points, these three. 3 points are given. Find the centroid. Straightforward question. Centroid of a triangle is x1 plus x2 plus x3 upon 3. So x1 is your 5, x2 is 1, x3 is 4. So 5 plus 1 plus 4 divided by 3. Similarly, you will get your y coordinates and z coordinates. So simply apply formula and that is the answer. You can take a look at this. Next question, two vertices of a triangle are given and it is said that the centroid is the origin and you have to find the third vertex. Again, centroid formula is x1 plus x2 plus x3 upon 3. However, in this case, you don't have the third vertex or the third point. So assume that the third point is x, y, z. And it is given that the centroid is origin. So the coordinates of centroid are going to be equal to 0, 0, 0. So if I want to find my x coordinate of centroid, which is 0, I can equate that is equal to x1 plus x2 plus x3 upon 3, which means 1 plus minus 2 plus x upon 3. So solution is going to be this. I'm going to assume the third coordinate as x, y, z. Centroid is origin. Just equate, put in the formula. Equate x coordinate, y coordinate and z coordinate to simplify and get your third vertex. For a centroid, we have 3 coordinates. For a tetrahedron, we have 4 coordinates. The procedure is going to remain same. For centroid, x2 plus x3 upon 3. For tetrahedron, formula is x1 plus x2 plus x3 plus x4 upon 4. That's it. So one ABC, assuming D point to be x, y, and z. Centroid is given. So just equating with formulas, I can say that this is equal to 4, 2, 2. Equate x coordinate, and that is your value. Next, show that the locus of point whose distance is thrice its distance from a particular point is this much. So one equation is given. You have to show that that equation comes after solving the necessary condition. The necessary condition is a point whose distance from y-axis is 3 times its distance from one particular point. Say suppose that point is A, 1, 2, minus 1. So I have to equate in this particular case. Distance from y-axis is on left hand side, 3 times its distance. Suppose my required point is P, which has coordinates x, y, z, and the given point 1, 2, minus 1 is my point A. So I can say that distance from y-axis is equal to 3 times of PA. How can I find PA? By using my distance formula. P is having coordinates x, y, z, and A is having coordinates 1, 2, minus 1. On my left hand side, I have show that the locus of point whose distance from y-axis. So on left hand side, I have distance from y-axis. So how can I get distance from y-axis? It means that my y coordinate is not going to be there. I'm going to have my x and z coordinates. So the formula to get distance from y-axis is under root of x square plus z square. If I have to find distance from, say, suppose z-axis, then my formula would be under root of x square plus y square. If I want to find distance from x-axis, then my formula would be under root of y square plus z square. In this particular case, I have to find distance from y-axis. So distance from y-axis is nothing but under root of x square plus z square. So let's see the solution. Distance from y-axis is thrice its distance from this point. Therefore, that is equal to 3 times of PA. Distance from y-axis is nothing but your under root x square plus z square, which is equal to 3 times of PA. PA is nothing but, you can get it easily from your distance formula. Squaring on both sides and simplifying, you get your answer. So that's it. Hence I can say it is proved. The next question, you have to show that there is a point P which is having locus or it is moving such that it satisfies the condition of 3P is equal to 2PB. You are given the points of A and B. Point P obviously would be a x comma y comma z, and the answer should be equal to this which is given to you. As the condition is already given, 3 times of PA is equal to 2 times of PB, just apply your distance formula and equate them. Distance formula is in under root, so square and equate. Therefore, this squaring on both sides, this, just simplifying, and I get my final answer. Okay, so these are some basic questions that we have seen. We'll now move to a bit more difficult questions. The distance between 2 points is 7. I have to find the value of k. So again, pretty straightforward question. Distance between 2 points is given. What can you do over here? Apply distance formula. Equate that with 7. You'll get answer of your k. So AB is equal to 7, squaring because distance formula has root in it. Equating, simplifying, and you get your answer. Second question, you have A and B and also points P and Q which lie on A and B such that AP is equal to PQ is equal to QB. So you can say that the point P is at 1/3 location and point Q is at 2/3 location. So that AP is your first 1/3 part, PQ forms your middle or your 2/3 part, and QB forms your last third part. My question is to find midpoint of PQ. Okay, so how should we approach this question? I have to find midpoint of PQ. So obviously I can use my midpoint formula. If I have my coordinates of P and coordinates of Q, I can simply apply my midpoint formula, which is x1 plus x2 upon 2, and get the coordinates. So to apply my midpoint or to find my midpoint of PQ, what I need is I need my endpoints P and Q. Can I get my endpoints P and Q from this particular question? It is given that I have my point A, I have my point B, and some random condition is given, which is AP is equal to PQ is equal to QB. Can I use this knowledge and get my points P and Q? The answer is no. You cannot get the points P and Q. Okay, so this method or this approach won't give you your answer. So is there any other approach from which I can get value of my midpoint PQ? Yes, so in second approach, the necessary condition that was given to us is AP is equal to PQ is equal to QB. From this condition, I can say that midpoint of PQ is also equal to midpoint of AB. If midpoint of PQ and midpoint of AB are same, I can easily find midpoint of AB because I have A and B coordinates. Therefore, in this particular question, method of solving is not difficult, but approaching to that method was a bit tricky. So you don't have to actually find the coordinates of P and Q. You have to just notice the given condition and say that the midpoint of PQ is also similar or is also equal to that of midpoint of AB. So let's see the solution. Midpoint of PQ is equal to midpoint of AB, and simply apply your midpoint formula, which is x1 plus x2 upon 2, y1 plus y2 upon 2, or z1 plus z2 upon 2, which gives me my answer. Next question. If L, M are the feet of perpendiculars from one particular point 245 to the xy plane and yz plane, then I have to find the distance LM. I have to find distance LM. Obviously, I can use my distance formula. But what will I need to use my distance formula? I am going to need coordinates of L and I am going to need coordinates of M. How can I get coordinates of L and M? Some conditions are given to us in the question. First condition is that L and M are feet of perpendiculars from point 245 to xy plane and yz plane. So there is one point, say suppose that point is P, which is 245. From that point, I'm drawing a perpendicular on my xy plane. When that perpendicular reaches my xy plane, it will only have two coordinates of x and y. It won't have z coordinate because it is my xy plane. So z coordinate is 0. And if I'm drawing another perpendicular on yz plane, it will only have y and z coordinates. It won't have x coordinate because I'm considering yz plane. So x coordinate in that case is 0. So when I'm saying that L is feet of perpendicular on xy plane, I'm saying that coordinates of L are 2, 4, 0. I'm going to consider the z coordinate as 0 because it is meeting at xy plane. When I'm saying that M is the feet of perpendicular from point 245 on yz plane, it means coordinates of M are going to be 4 and 5. X coordinate is 0. So I can say its coordinates are 0, 4, 5. I have my L coordinates, M coordinates, apply distance formula and get answer. So let's see how the solution is. Point P is given. Remember that projection is equal to your perpendicular. Projection of P on xy plane is going to be 2, 4, 0. It's xy plane, so only x and y coordinates are considered. Similarly, on yz plane, it's going to be 0, 4, 5. Apply distance formula and I get my answer. Just look at this question. Okay, next. If A and B are the feet of perpendiculars from point P to the x-axis and y-axis. So in previous question, the L and M were feet of perpendiculars on xy plane and yz plane. Instead over here, we have the perpendiculars are lying on x-axis and y-axis. So what would be the coordinate of A? If it is lying on x-axis, it will only have x coordinate. It won't have any y and z coordinates. So coordinates of A would be 2, 0, 0. and B is lying on or has the feet of perpendicular on y-axis, so it has only y coordinate. Therefore, coordinates of B would be 0, 4, 0. You have your A and B. Apply distance formula to get your answer. So, as we can see, projection on x-axis would contain only x coordinate. Projection on y-axis would contain only y coordinate. Applying distance formula, we get answer. I have to find a point at which my zx plane intersects AB bar, where A and B are given as this. So we have seen similar type of question yesterday, where a zx plane is intersecting or dividing in particular ratio. So what was answer in that case? Answers were minus of y1 and minus of y1 divided by y2. If zx plane is intersecting AB, it's going to be minus y1 by y2. If xy plane is intersecting your vector, then answer would be minus of z1 by z2. So it's zx. So you're going to consider your third coordinates, minus of y1 by y2. A and B are given to you. Zx plane divides the ratio obviously in the ratio of minus y1 by y2. Y1 is your 3, y2 is your minus 1. So that is 3:1. I don't have to find the ratio. I have to find the exact point. But if I have my ratio and I have the endpoints, so I can easily get the point which is dividing by using my internal division formula. So using my internal division formula, I get the coordinates as 4, 0 and 13 by 4. So that's my answer. Have a look at this. Are you guys able to understand what is going on here? Type in yes or no. Yes, from Rutik. Okay. Do you want me to go more faster, or you want me to go more slow and explain each and every step, or do you want me to go in more faster way where I'm just talking about more concepts? So if you want to go in the current way, just type in yes. If you want explanation for each and every step, type in explain. If you want me to go more faster, then just type in fast. Okay, revert. So same speed. Okay, Aryan. Others, Rutvik, Prathamesh, Anish. Should I go more fast? You want each step to be explained or any other alterations? More slow, anything? Same speed. Rutvik, Omkar, and Munal. Okay. Tanvi, Srushti, Neha, Omkar, Pranali. Okay, same speed. Okay, good. So I'm going to assume now from your word that you're clearly understanding what's going on here. No bouncer to any particular student. Let's see next question. There are 3 points which are collinear, then the ratio in which C divides AB is question mark. So as The 3 points are collinear. There are multiple ways to solve this. First way, you can show that these are scalar multiples of each other. Say, suppose AB bar and BC bar. In this particular case, you have to find C. So find AC bar and BC bar and show that these are scalar multiples of each other. And from there, you can get your ratio. Another way could be finding your AB, BC, and AC and finding the relation between these three. I can also directly get the ratio by using my formula, which is x1 minus x2 upon x2 minus x3, which is also equal to my y coordinate ratio, which is y1 minus y2 upon y2 minus y3, which is also equal to z coordinate ratio, which is z1 minus z2 upon z2 minus z3. So note down this formula for collinearity. ABC as this. Therefore, the ratio is x1 minus x upon x minus of x2. So x1 in this case is your minus 1. X in this particular case, you're going to take 5. And then again 5 minus of 3. Just simplify. If you are getting answer as minus 3:1, that means it's dividing externally. If you get answer as 3:1, that means it is dividing internally. Perpendicular distance of a point to the coordinate axis are given to you. You have to find the distance of point P from the origin. So what you have to find in this particular case, let us say that my point P has coordinates of x, y, and z. So distance from origin is nothing but under root of x square plus y square plus z square. So what I'm going to need to solve this particular question, I want the values of x, y, and z. But can I get values of x, y, and z? Because if I have values of x, y, z, I can easily find the perpendicular distance from origin. The answer is no. You can't get the values or can't equate and get each equivalent value of x, y, and z. There is some other condition which is also given to you. Other condition is that the perpendicular distance to the coordinate axis are 2, 3, and 5. So the perpendiculars are drawn to what? Coordinate axis. Coordinate axis means your x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. So when I'm drawing a perpendicular to my x-axis, it is meeting at point 2. Sorry, the distance of that perpendicular is equal to 2. When I'm drawing a perpendicular on, say, suppose my y-axis, the distance is equal to 3. And when I'm drawing a perpendicular to my z-axis, the distance is equal to 5. Therefore, what I can say is the distance from my x-axis is nothing but under root y square plus z square. The distance from y-axis is nothing but under root of x square plus z square. And distance from my z-axis is nothing but under root x square plus y square. And these distances are given to you, which are 2, 3, and 5. Equating them, I can get values of this. So after equating, I get 2 is equal to under root y square plus z square, 3 is under root x square plus z square, and 5 is under root 3 x square plus y square. I'm going to square them and add them because my end goal is to find the distance of point P from origin, and distance of point P from origin is nothing but under root of x square plus y square plus z square. So I want that value. So what I'm going to do, I will square and add, and if required, I'll take square root again. So how does this go? Squaring and adding, I get this is equal to this. Therefore, 2 times of x square plus y square plus z square is 38, which means dividing by 2 on both sides, and the original distance which I want, it is nothing but going to be in under root, therefore taking under root on both sides. That's equal to root 19. So let's see the question once again. In this particular question, you have to find the distance of point P from origin, which is nothing but under root x square plus y square plus z square. Regular approach would be to find the value of point P. But in this particular case, you can't get the value of point P because no other information is given from which you can get the exact coordinates of point P. But something else is given. It is given that the perpendicular distance of coordinate axes are 2, 3, and 5. So coordinate axes are your x, y, and z. Your x-axis is also called as abscissa. It's just a fancy name of saying x-axis. So note down this word, like instead of x coordinate, they might sometimes give you abscissa. Sometimes there might be a word ordinate. So ordinate means your y-axis or y coordinates. When it is coordinate axis, it means your x and y in 2 dimensions or your x, y, and z in 3 dimensions. So x coordinates is your abscissa, y coordinates is your ordinate. Only ordinate word would be, coordinate word would not be present. So if coordinate word is present, it means both your x and y axis, and in 3D, your x, y, and z axis. From x axis, the distance of perpendicular is 2, and the formula for that is nothing but under root of y square plus z square. Similarly for y and z, equating and adding, I get my answer. Next question. The point P is equidistant and I have to find values of P, Q, and R. So it is equidistant from all the 3 points. Say suppose these 3 are vertices of your triangle. Then which point is equidistant from all the 3? Your centroid. And what is the formula for your centroid? x1 plus x2 plus x3 upon 3. So simply equate by using your centroid formula, get values of P, Q, and R. And once you have coordinates of P, Q, and R, you can substitute those values in P plus Q plus R. How to solve? Let's see. Equating, I get values of centroid as 0, 0, 0. That means value of P is 0, Q is 0, and R is 0. So P plus Q plus R means 0 plus 0 plus 0. So that's 0. So notice there's a difference between your third option and fourth option. So most of the students will get the answer right, 0. But while ticking, might be confused whether I should tick my third option or fourth option. Third option says that the answer is 0. So third answer is correct. Fourth option says that the vertex or the point is 0, 0, 0. We are not finding the vertex over here. We are finding value of P plus Q plus R. So my answer is 3. If my question was find the point P comma Q comma R, then in that case my answer would be 4, 0 comma 0 comma 0. So just keep an eye, because sometimes you might get the answer easily, but the question might be asked in a tricky way, or the options might look similar. Okay. So we'll stop over here. Tomorrow we'll see few more questions and we'll be increasing difficulty level more. We'll take 2 more lectures. Next lecture it will be more difficult, and third lecture will be comparatively more difficult. Solve at home. If you won't solve at home, just looking at these questions, you will not be able to solve in your JEE exam. So Tushar sir will be sharing these PPTs. The PPT has more than 50 questions. For your homework, go through these 50 questions, try to solve them. They are already present with solutions. We'll be discussing more of them, but go through them. If you practice these 50 questions on one, I have 3 to 4 slides, 3 to 4 PPTs. You can easily solve around 200 questions. Okay, thank you everyone. Let's meet for the next lecture. Thank you. If anyone is having any doubt, they can ask, or we can end the lecture.